Your mom called this morning. Your adult child texted last night asking to borrow some money. You have an important meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. You're stuck in the middle of raising parents and children. And you think, when is someone going to ask about me? Today's episode is all about the sandwich generation. Welcome to Saturday State of Mind. I'm Jess Panico, joined by Mike Panico. Hey, Mike.
This topic hits a little bit close to home, Jess. It is said that half of all Americans in their 40s and their 50s, they have parents that are 65 plus. They have kids that are at home or might be capable of leaving the home, but don't. And within that bucket of people who are wedged in the middle, they're often caregiving for one or both of these parties. Welcome to the sandwich generation.
Oh, man.
So the sandwich, just to be clear on definitions here, if you've got parents that are, like, say, approaching retirement or in retirement, you've got kids, and one or both of them needs care, you're in the middle, right?
You're the meat in the sandwich, basically.
I was going to go with the peanut butter and the jelly, but we can go with cold cuts too, Jess.
You know what? I feel actually peanut butter and jelly might make more sense because I feel that the bread is just smushing it and you're coming out of the sides. I might be going through this a little bit myself.
You might be the cold cut, like you're.
I'm like the jelly spilling all over the place, and then you're like, oh my God, why do I have jelly all over my hands?
So, Jess, this episode is for you and for the countless others out there that are watching who either find themselves in a similar situation or one day might be finding themselves in the situation. First, we got to talk about the cost or the toll of all of this. Mm-hmm. When people are dealing with, say, a care event, they say that over the course of a year, it could cost $10,000 or more to provide financial support for, one of your two slices of bread. They also say that it can take an additional 50 to 70 hours per month dealing with either the phone calls or the doctor's visits or, the therapy that you're providing for these individuals. And that's a lot. The toll, I would say, based on the observations I've had as an advisor, is it's less about the money and it's more about the psychological toll.
Sure, it's the mental and emotional bandwidth. And what's funny is that I feel, back in the day, it was unusual to have multi-generations living in one house. But that's not exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the, yes, emotional, but also maybe financial burden of having to help people in the generation above and below you. So what can we do to help insulate, but still give ourselves to the people that we care about the most?
So I would say start with number one, acknowledging it. You are going through something. I know every time that phone rings, there's like this private, it might just be half-second moment where you're like, please, God, just let it be a spam call.
Let it be a telemarketer.
Right.
I will buy that extended warranty.
Yeah. And so you are going through something, and there's nothing wrong with having the feelings that you're having. One of those feelings is often frustration. But one of the ones that I want to talk about, the next topic here, would be guilt. Some people feel like because they still have a day job, they're not doing enough for that parent or that kid that needs their help, or they feel like they should be providing more to that person. And sometimes these people are in the position that they're in either because of bad luck or age. Those things happen. Sometimes it's more willful though. Maybe you've got somebody in the sandwich who just doesn't make good decisions. But even that being said, sometimes there's just this guilt that sits inside of you. This person maybe doesn't have anybody else. Maybe you're their primary source of support. And so even when it's tough to provide that help, maybe when you know that you're doing a lot or maybe all that you can, one of the more overriding things that I see from people is this guilt. I should be doing more. I'm not always doing it with a smile on my face, so I must not be a good person. And all of these thoughts, being frustrated, being sad, being at wit's end, feeling like you're never able to catch up on sleep. It's all normal, and you're doing a lot. I mean, for most people, just taking care of yourself is a full-time job. Never mind looking out for 2 or 3 other people, which can sometimes be the case. So if you're feeling guilty, just try to go easy on yourself.
So the first thing you need to hear is that you're doing the best you can, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So now that we know that, let's talk a little bit about when clients come in here and they talk about their children And I use that term children because these kids are over 18, they're legal adults, but maybe they're still living at home. And maybe it's understanding. I mean, it's expensive out there, but maybe you're starting to dip into your retirement or your savings to help support these children, be it through college or just through life. What does that conversation look like with our clients?
So we talk to people about giving permission to themselves to put themselves first. You're on a journey. You're probably getting close to where you want to make this big transition from where you're in the workforce actively earning a paycheck to where you're going to live off of your savings. And your savings are finite. There's only so much of it, right? And you get to either spend it on yourself and your own needs, or you got to start divvying it up between the other people who are coming, say, with their hands out. When you say, well, gosh, I'd like to be of more help, and I've got 2 or 3 hands extended to me, that might make it so that you start to take a back seat. And what does that look like? Maybe you spend less. Maybe you continue to work longer beyond when you ideally wanted to, because now you can't rely on the savings. There's not enough for 2 or 3 people. So you're going to keep on working until maybe some of this goes at bay and whatnot. We say it all the time on Saturday State of Mind, Jess. The future is unknown. You've got to seize the day. The Saturday State of Mind is this recognition that time is your most important asset. So if you're going to live every day like it's Saturday, it almost requires that you put yourself first. And that's not an easy thing to say. You asked specifically within the constraints of adult children, okay? It is expensive out there, right? Whether you're trying to get married or buy a first home, right? Oftentimes kids are still in school, they're in a graduate program, and you say, hey, listen, I can help them out. I should do more. They're my kids. I love them. Sure. But is it worth delaying your own goals? You only have so much time. They're young. They're just starting their stories. From my recollection, when I talk to most clients, most of them did struggle in their 20s and 30s, sometimes with far less support than today's generation. And I don't want to make this a generational thing, but all I'm just trying to put out there for people is you do have to make a fundamental decision. I'm going to put my life on hold, despite what the consequences might be, to serve these other people. Or I might just have a recognition. I've already done a lot. I raised these kids. I changed their dirty diapers. I dealt with their moody teenage years. I supported you as you made your transition into college, right? I might be washing my hands at this point.
I've also probably made them capable human beings. They can figure it out. I get it. The landscape for them today looks different than my landscape, but I'm not saying I had it harder or they do. It's just different. And ultimately, you gotta figure it out as an adult.
It's not always possible. I mean, sometimes the kids aren't being grubby. Maybe they have some sort of a mental diagnosis where they're just in the position they're in because, well, that's just how it's going to be. This is not a black and white issue. But oftentimes what we find is that people, because they have such generous hearts, all they want to do is give, give, give. And it's like that, The Giving Tree, that one of our favorite books, right, that we used to read to our boys. The tree just gives itself away till it's down to a stump. And that's a really great story, but I don't want to be ground down to a stump. Doesn't sound all that appealing. So I think this leads very naturally, Jess, into the last talking point here, which is talking a little bit about, well, even if we do want to have that generous heart, if we want to give and put ourselves second, there's probably this unintended consequence of hurting these people, but just further down the line. So by that, I mean this, right? If you just give everything away that you have, or you put yourself second, chances are, from a planning perspective, you make it more likely that you might run out of money along your journey.
So then guess who's coming to knock on your door when now you're in your 40s and you're successful on your own 2 feet? It's mom that's got nothing left in the bank account.
Yeah, I mean, you're spending more than you intended,
right?
Because you're supporting more than just yourself, and you're giving gifts away to the kids, or you're helping out with a mom or a dad. Retirement is already challenging enough to navigate to support 1 or 2 people, never mind 3, 4, or 5. So all of a sudden, if you're going to be running on fumes in your 70s or your 80s, maybe your 90s, who's going to be like responsible for bailing you out and supporting you? So right now your problem is you've got people that are dependent on you, but if you can't be self-sufficient through the entirety of your retirement, then you're just going to be dependent on somebody else, possibly the very people that you're most interested in defending or caring for.
Sure.
So I like to tell people, and maybe it sounds like a little bit of a mental trick or whatever. It's like, hey, if you're helping out the kids, all this other stuff, cut them off. Tell them that your financial planner said that you're putting them first by putting yourself at the front of the line. Because the more that you protect yourself and put your needs ahead of theirs, the more likely it is that you'll be self-sufficient. And the less likely it'll be that you'll have to crash on their couch in your 80s because, you misused your assets.
So no doesn't mean that you don't love them. Keep that in mind. If this was helpful for you, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.